So today I'm going to be throwing 100 of these. They're basically a really simple cylinder. It's for a candle for company. They've got to be pretty consistent. So today I'm going to be talking through a few tips on how to get these looking as identical as possible. So these candle holders are 9 centimeters by 9 centimeters. Now my clay has a shrinkage of about 12 to 13%. So I'll work out the size of which I've got to throw to. So 12 to 13% larger than 9 centimeters is just over 10 centimeters. So I'll aim for about 10.3, 10.4 centimeters. I try to keep the tools quite simple really because I don't want to get too cluttered. So I've got a simple rib tool to clear off the slit from the outside of the cylinder. And I've got two wooden tools here, so one of them's to clean around the base of the cylinder and one's to get a nice angle inside, which I'll talk to you about in a bit. For this particular job I'm actually going to use a bat system. I just find this is much quicker to use and it definitely stops any kind of distortion happening on the rims, so I'll be using this system for this particular job. So this is a gauge I'm going to be thrown to. You can set this up quite simply with just using a ruler to set it to exact points you want. So I actually just threw a cylinder to the correct size I wanted, and then I just placed the gauge towards the point of the rim. So I start as usual way, just coning up the clay up and down to prepare a little bit, centering it, and then I open up the centre of the clay to around about 10 centimeters for the base. So you can use calipers for this just to make sure you're at the right size for the base. Over time then, once you've done quite a few of these, your muscle memory will basically get you to the right point. So once the clay's been opened up, I tend to collar in a little bit just to prepare it for the next pull. And the next pull I try and aim for a sort of cone shape, and I use my left hand to support the clay. So the first pull I tend to pinch with my thumb and index finger, my right hand, and as you pinch you'll find the clay will just start to go up, and I try to guide it more towards the centre so you're creating more of a cone shape. So for the second pull, I cut in at the bottom just to create a ridge, and then I want to pull that weight of clay from the bottom up into the wall, and I do this by using my right hand index knuckle and my left hand middle finger. So I gently push them together where I've cut in at the bottom and just gently pull up into the wall, and this will give you a decent height. It's all about keeping that distance between the knuckle and the middle finger equal all the way to the top so you get a nice consistent wall. So for the final pull I use both of my middle fingers from left and right hand, use it like a pincer. You go right down to the bottom, cut in some of the clay at the bottom to create a ridge, and then pull that weight of clay up into the wall, and this is where you're trying to basically get your last pull up as high as possible, meeting the gauge. So it's time to clean inside the base of the cylinder. This is where I use the flat wooden tool, and I gently press down in the corner. This is where the candle is going to sit. And then I just use a sponge and stick to clear any slip from inside. I'll then use a rib to clear off the skirt of clay around the bottom, and then use it to compress the clay walls and to clear the slip off at the same time. You can actually use this to straighten the wall as well as much as possible. Finally, just clear all the slip off the bat. Wire it off and you're done.